Then you need Magic's 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. Magic's shampoo is specially formulated and shit.
Fucking ASA.
You can feel it starting to condition as it cleans the second you start using it. Ain't that right, homie?
Yeah.
You'll look and feel great. Go from chale to firme in no time. And the bitches will love it too. Try Magic's 2-in-1 shampoo today, SA.
Remember when we first met John McClane? Argyle picked him up from the plane and took him down the Nakatomi Tower at the Christmas party. And the terrorists were overzealous, but it was sweet when they killed Ellis. And with a little help from Alan, John McClane kicked ass.
Welcome back to Shat The Movies, the podcast where we answer the question, were the movies we loved when we were growing up really that good? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why don't they make movies like they used to? Can you still remember spending your Friday night searching for the perfect movie rental at Blockbuster Video? Do you know what Blockbuster Video is? If you answered yes, then this is the podcast for you. I am one of your hosts, Gene Lyons, and alongside me is my co-host, Big D, Dick Ebert.
Good evening.
And each week we take a look back in time and decide if our favorite films still hold up. The movies we cover are chosen by you, the listeners, who generously commission the films you love. If you'd like to see all the movies we have covered, will cover, and want to choose one for yourself, please visit shatpod.com and have a look. At the end of each podcast, we'll provide you, the audience, with the number of wipes each movie we take to get off your respective butts. So thank you so much for listening. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and share with a friend. It's how we help the podcast grow. Additionally, subscribe to our sister podcast, Shat on TV. Review TV series such as Westworld, Taboo, American Gods, Game of Thrones, True Detective, Lovecraft Country, and Watchmen. Find all the information and past episodes at shatpod.com/TV. And finally, to hang out with us live, follow and subscribe to our Twitch channel, shatpod.com/Twitch, and our YouTube channel, where we play video games, host watch parties, and edit this podcast live. All that being said, Big D, what movie are we reviewing tonight?
So, Gene, I'm quickly here trying to do the math in my head. Is this our 7th year doing podcasts?
I think this might be, we started in 2016, so this would be year 7.
This is year 7, people. Wow. Whew. Yes, this is the Shat-tacular, people. And I went back to look at some of the films we've done in the past, and it was a lot of good films. We did Halloween, we did a Friday the 13th, we did Pet Sematary, Monster Squad. Last year, we did Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I came out to see you and watched the live performance as well, which was really great. We did The Shining, we did Halloween 4, we did Scream. And this year, we went a little different direction because one of our great listeners, Adam from Philly, had wrote in and said, would you please review the 1985 Stephen King anthology horror, Cat's Eye?
And Adam wrote in for our Halloween Spooktacular and said, happy Halloween, Shat Crew. I've been reading Stephen King since my mom handed me the book Thinner when I was 11 years old. Throughout middle school and high school, I would just take King books from my mom's collection and read as much as I could. I think he became my favorite author when I finally read The Stand at age 14. This mammoth novel was something my mom read once a year. And at that age, I couldn't understand how someone could read a book over 1,000 pages, let alone read it every fucking year. The once I read it, I got it. My older brother introduced me to the film adaptations of Stephen King, and I think the first one I ever saw was Creepshow. I was 4 or 5, and it scared the shit out of me. Naturally, I wanted to see more. I remember my brother and I watching classics such as Christine, Children of the Corn, Firestarter, and Maximum Overdrive. Pretty soon, King movies were a staple of family movie night. One such staple in my household was indeed Cat's Eye. I had never read the stories this movie was based on until this past summer, and I was surprised at how well the movie followed them, to the best of my memory. I know it isn't a good movie. Hell, revisiting it might even be awful, but it was a major part of my childhood, and I love it just for that. I haven't revisited it in almost 20 years, but I'll give it a 2-wiper for nostalgia. Finally, I want to thank you guys for your truly entertaining podcast. You both seem genuine and sincere, and that's what keeps me coming back every week. Because of your openness to talk about yourselves on the pod, please let me return the favor. My commission comes with some sadness, as I lost my brother in 2022 and my mom earlier this year. Your senses of humor and wonderful work ethic remind me so much of my family, and I can't ever thank you enough for helping me through these past 2 years. I look forward to revisiting one of my great family moments with you, no matter what the Shat score. Keep kicking ass, and I'll keep listening. Also, if you ever end up in the podunk suburb of Souderton, PA, drop me a line, and I'll have you over for a drink. Love you guys. Adam from Philly-ish.
So, Adam, thank you very much for those kind words. Sorry also very much for your losses. But there's a lot of times, like lately, as you get older, you start to get introspective and think about whatever I do in my daily life. Is it making me better? Is it making me happy? Is it something I enjoy doing? Is it worth doing? As you start to become keenly aware of that your days are numbered. So there's times that you think like, hey, could I be doing something different? But you hear this and it makes you really, for me at least, it makes me enjoy, Gene, the time I spend with you, the time communicating with listeners and hearing how it impacts people. It makes it easier to keep going. I mean, I enjoy seeing your beautiful face every week, but hearing these letters means a lot. So thank you, Adam. And any little sense of normalcy we gave you, I'm blessed to be part of it.
Adam, you've caught me at a very weird time right now because the D-backs and the Phillies are in the middle of a playoff series. This podcast will come out Halloween, so it'll be after the series is over. And after this last game, game 5, I'm having a really hard time wanting to be on your side here. But you are, an old friend. You've written in so much. We have voicemail from you. We've got an email from you, commission from you. And we just really appreciate you listening, sharing those personal facts with us. And just like Big D, I echo, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'm glad that we could help in any way. Well, Cat's Eye is a 1985 horror anthology written by Stephen King, and it comprises 3 stories: Quitters, Inc., The Ledge, and General. They're connected by the presence of a traveling cat and Drew Barrymore, both of which play incidental roles in the first 2 stories and major characters in the third. Also in this cast, we've got James Woods, Alan King, Robert Hayes, and Candy Clark. So, Big D, as we've discussed before on the podcast, I didn't really grow up with a lot of Stephen King in my life. Adam and I couldn't be more different on that note. And the more of his movies we watch, the more I'm convinced that I didn't really miss much with Stephen King. Now, I know the books and the movies are very, very different, but as far as the cinematic representation, he's not my favorite. And the first 2 acts of the movie, I wouldn't have understood as a child anyway, so it would have been pointless to watch. I think I would have understood the first one as a 5-year-old, but that's a big maybe.
Yeah, so I it's weird now. Going back as an older person, I remember loving Stephen King, and I remember thinking how great his movies were. I don't know if it was just because his movies and some of his books are more aimed that they work with kids because they're a bit easier to scare. I only remember this movie for the poster, Drew Barrymore, there was a cat and the parents did not like the cat. And I knew it was an anthology like Creep Show, but I could tell you all the Creep Show. I think there's 5 of the stories within that. I knew it was an anthology. And I always thought I'm a Stephen King fan, but now as I'm watching these movies, I'm starting to wonder if either they worked for me when I was younger or his stories are much better in the book form and they don't translate. Because I have read very few. I mean, we joked about me not liking to read. I read Needful Things and I read, I think, probably like 900, 800 pages of The Stand. And then for some reason, I never finished it. I know what it ended like. But I don't know, going back, Stephen King, the movies don't hold up to what I remember them.
We shouldn't discount the fact that a lot of these movies were made in the 80s and like early 90s. And most of the time, during that like decade or so, when they made a movie based on a book, it was pretty awful. So we should take that into account.
And I think it's also what scares you is different. As a kid, a noise in a dark hallway, some kind of creepy possessed car or something. As an adult, it doesn't scare you. But the topics, I think, played better when I was younger.
No, I'm just afraid of inflation.
No.
Let's hit the trailer.
Stephen King, your favorite novelist and master of modern horror, has written his first motion picture screenplay. It combines all the elements of his creative imagination. Lovable pets, classic cars, quiet evenings, favorite films.
Kill the son of it. Good idea.
Adorable kids.
Help me! It's after me!
And of course, a monster or 2. Experience a series of electrifying adventures as seen through Stephen King's Cat's Eye.
Where's your sense of humor?
Stephen King's Cat's Eye.
Smoker Dick Morrison meets Quitters Inc. counselor Vinnie Donati, who explains that every time Dick smokes a cigarette, horrors will befall his wife and child. Donati demonstrates by putting a stray cat in a cage and shocking it. He says Dick's wife Cindy will be next if Dick is caught smoking. For subsequent infractions, his daughter will be shocked and then his wife raped. Finally, Dick himself will be killed. That night, Dick is tempted to smoke but notices he's being watched. The following day, he visits his daughter and sees Donati, who warns him that the organization will be watching him closely.
Okay, so the movie starts out, and the opening scene right away has me very concerned. It's an advertisement. It's a commercial. It's heavy into the Stephen King's Cat's Eye, just like the poster and the ads. It's not Cat's Eye. It's Stephen King's, just like John Carpenter's. And they're openly, obviously reminding us, hey, everyone, do you remember Stephen King? He's great. His books are great. He's iconic. Hey, do you remember how scary Cujo was? Ooh, big St. Bernard with rabies. Ooh, do you remember Christine, that killer car? Yeah, she's here too. They made it so obvious that they were trying to get everybody to remember the movies. Because remember when this came out, he only had Carrie, Salem's Lot, Shining, Creepshow Cujo, Dead Zone, Christine, Firestarter. So he had a little work with. But he's flaunting it like, hey, I'm not too confident this one can stand on its own.
I almost feel like this was thrown in to sweeten the deal on another one of those movie deals. He's like, hey, listen, we want $8 million. They're like, no, we're only going to give you 7.5. Okay, we'll give you Christine and also these other 2 stories. And fuck, I'll write you a new one even. It's about a troll.
Yeah.
Right? Did you notice, Big D, in the opening credits? Also, this is produced by our old friend, Dino De Laurentiis. He's showing up everywhere now. I'm so aware of him now. Thank you, Shat The Movies. And De Laurentiis at this point had produced Dune, Conan the Destroyer, and Firestarter just in the year before Cat's Eye. And then he went on to do Maximum Overdrive, as you mentioned, Blue Velvet, and a bunch more solid movies in 1985 and beyond. And I think this Cat's Eye is a good reminder that De Laurentiis, like, he wasn't some genius here. He was just a real gambler when it came to films.
But if you think back to this time, this type of film, like the anthology, had become a big way to make money and a big way to get horror without deep involved story. So the Cat's Eye came on the heels of Creepshow in 82 and then Creepshow 2 85. And then there was also Tales from the Dark Side. And what they would do is they would bundle a bunch of these smaller stories together. And in Creepshow, it was like a comic book. Like you had the Crypt Keeper who would come and read the stories. And Dark Side, there was like this young kid who was telling a witch the 3 tales from the dark side. And it's a lot like you think about Twilight Zone or now Black Mirror. These shows that have these stories that are somehow tied together here. Though, unlike the kid telling the story or the Crypt Keeper, the only thing they're like, okay, how can we tie these 3 stories? And you mentioned Quitters Inc. and The Ledge. The General was written just for this. The other 2 were 2 short stories. So this, like, they just picked these 2. How do we get these all together? There's nothing holding them together. Okay, we're going to get a cat. Then we're going to start the movie off with the police. Someone's watching you. We're going to end with that, okay? And then we're going to get Drew Barrymore. We're going to get Drew Barrymore as like a ghostly apparition. Then we're going to get her as kind of a nerdy kid, and then a kid at the end. And yeah, that'll work. That'll work. We'll get a cat running around. It'll all hold together.
I mean, admittedly, the cat works for me. I like the cat.
Cat's great.
Cat was cool. Yeah. And, you know, Big D, I'm a diehard dog lover, but I did have a cat once. The cat's name was Jennifer. One of my mom's clients died, and there was no one to take this cat. She was a big, white, fluffy, angry old cat, and she basically just lived under a bed. I've never had a cat that was like super social, right? We saw her only when she came out to eat, and then I got to clean her litter box. So basically that was my cat experience as far as having one in the home. It wasn't great. To me, based on living with a cat and having friends with cats, the basic experience of having a cat is that you always smell pee in your house, and then your furniture always just gets wrecked. At the same time, though, like I love dogs wholeheartedly, but the idea of like being able to leave for the weekend without getting a dog sitter sounds pretty awesome. The no barking, like if anything is going on outside, that seems pretty a +1 in the cat column. No crating. That sounds awesome. Like all that seems pretty nice. This cat seems pretty cool. Do you think, I know that, you sadly lost your cat recently. Do you think you'll ever go back to cats, or are you just a straight up bunny man now?
Well, I can give you this from an objective viewpoint. Okay. As a kid growing up, we had dogs, multiple dogs. Then as an adult, I always hated cats, despised them, but also I'm a good human being. So Vanessa's sister had a little tabby that was running around. The neighbors with these little shit kids that I knew were going to torture this cat. So I said, let's pick him up. We named him Toby. We were going to get him, pawn him off to one of my coworkers. 15 years later, that bastard was my best friend. Orange tabby, coolest cat ever. And I have to disagree. I think the pee and the furniture shit, it only smells like pee if you have a dirty fucker as a guardian. Somebody who's taking care of him and doesn't change the litter box. They don't respect him. My cat's never touched anything. I always think dogs chew walls and chew doors and fucking window frames. Cats are cool. Toby was awesome. He passed away a few months ago. He was a stray. Then we picked up Lily, who was a pound kitten who had a respiratory infection. They gave us no chance of her surviving. She survived. She's 13 years old now. She needs a cat therapist. She's like you described. She stays under the bed. She'll come out and when she wants something to eat, and then she's perfectly fine living her old life. But when Toby passed, the animal gods above bestowed another soul upon us. One day, our neighbor comes by and says, hey, there's a white rabbit sitting in your bushes. I said, fucking a white rabbit? What are you talking about? We go out there. An Easter bunny that somebody bought for their kids obviously was now grown, so they let him loose in the neighborhood to die, to get picked off by some aerial assassin in Florida, some of these cranes that would eat them. We took him in, intending to give him away. Marshmallow is now my best friend. He is the greatest pet I've ever owned. A white rabbit, red eyes. He's litter box trained. He sits on the couch with me and cuddles under my arm for affection. The best pet ever is Marshmallow the rabbit.
If, knock on wood, heaven forbid,
Yes.
any ill fate should befall Marshmallow.
Yes.
And then you find Lily and she's got like a dagger wound to her shoulder.
Okay. Wow.
Would you think that is probably a troll?
No, I would think it was Petey the parakeet fucking going after her. But like Vanessa's already said, we have to find another kitten for Lily, because Lily has not gotten over the grief of Toby being gone, and Lily isn't even open to Marshmallow. Marshmallow's like, hey, you're a predator, I'm prey. Let's be friends. Marshmallow's that chill. He does not know the danger, but Lily's special. So a dog would never own. They're barking. They're needy. The cats are like, hey, what's up? All right, see you tomorrow. Later.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, like the dog thing, again, Sarah and I, dog people, we have 4 rescues. But it's a thing. Like, you want to have people over, it's a problem. You want to introduce a new person, it's a problem. Like, you want to leave, we just went on our honeymoon, and finding a person who's willing to watch your 4 dogs for a week, it's basically, I mean, they can extort you in any way they want because you're just so desperate for them to do it. It's incredibly, sometimes, I mean, there have been trips where it's more expensive for the dog sitter than the travel itself. That's how bad it is. So take it from your friend Gene Lyons here, folks. Get rabbits.
Get rabbits.
During a stressful traffic jam, Dick is caught smoking an old pack of cigarettes from his glove box. After watching his wife Cindy suffer in an electric cage, Dick is determined to never smoke again, and he tells his wife everything. Time passes and Dick is smoke-free, but he has gained weight. Donati sets the target weight for Dick and tells Dick someone will cut off his wife's little finger if he fails. At a dinner party to celebrate with a friend who recommended Quitters Inc., Dick notices his friend's wife is missing her little finger.
Okay, so after our last discussion about how much we love animals and I think we're both proud animal guardians. I used to call myself an owner, but then you, who are a volunteer at the rescue center, said, no, we're just guardians. We're just protecting them. That's how I feel. And I have to share my concerns with this cat. This is one of the best cat performances, one of the best animal performances I think we've seen. And they claim that no animal was harmed in the making of this movie. If you wait to the very end of the credits, it says, no animal was harmed in the making of this movie, ASPCA. But Roger Ebert even said, the electric shock scene was just special effects. I don't give a shit if that's special effects, Roger. This cat is obviously terrified throughout half this movie. There's multiple times where this cat is obviously scared. The cat's like, what am I doing? The horror on his face as he's being chased by a big slobbering Saint Bernard. He does like this juke, like this stutter step, and you can tell the cat's looking to run at a hole in the wall, and he can see like the handler, like, come here, come here. He's got the feather, like, come here, trying to coax him into the scene. He's running through traffic. He's jumping out of buildings. They do this stunt crash right behind the cat. This cat is traumatized, and I'm wondering how they got the cat to do these things.
Big, do you know cats better than I do? Because I thought they were just like really into hijinks. I thought cats like this kind of thing. Like I've worked with cats in the shelter doing photo sessions and stuff. They love to run around. They're acrobats. They're kind of crazy. And I think in the scene with the cage, if I recall correctly, they use like puffs of air to get the cat to jump. But you're right. Whether it's an electric shock or a puff of air, if there's a puff of air coming from under your ass and it's making you jump, it's probably not the best.
No.
The King Bee had a cat named Jake, may he rest in peace, and he liked to play a game called Cat in the Bag. I watched it myself. He was not forced into this bag.
Mm-hmm.
The King Bee would put a bag on the ground. Jake would crawl into the bag, and then the King Bee would pick up the bag and jiggle it around. And he'd say, cat in the bag, cat in the bag. And then Jake would like jump out all happy, and he'd want to do it again. Are you sure this cat wasn't having a good time?
Wait, was King Bee seems to be the type of guy who would be like blowing bong hits in the face of his pet. Is there a chance
he never even smoked a cigarette?
He's never taken bong hits. I didn't say he was smoking nicotine.
No, the King Bee has never smoked weed or smoked a cigarette or anything like that. He's not a drug user.
Did he ever microdose the cat?
He wasn't into shrooms during Jake's lifetime.
No. Cats are weird. They might. But I'll give you a little insight here, Gene. This is, if you ever want to befriend a cat, the way you do it is with your eyes. Ironically, the title of this film. If a cat is staring at you intently, it means it doesn't know whether or not it can trust you. It wants to keep an eye on you to see what you're going to do. If you look into their eyes and then slow blink, Gene, like this, it's showing trust to the cat that when you close your eyes, you're not concerned that they're going to attack you. Do that. If the cat reciprocates, it means the cat also trusts you.
It's like dogs with sneezing.
What, they sneeze?
They sneeze to indicate that it's play.
Oh.
It's like you're fucking around with the dog and they're sneezing a lot. They're kind of trying to let you know, hey, I'm just playing. Like, this isn't a real fight, okay? And they use it to communicate with each other as well.
Shat on pets.
Shat on pets.
It'll be on your feed. But, Gene, I want to talk to you. This whole thing that they're doing in this scene, it's a type of aversion therapy. And it's something that obviously works. You're going to condition. It is a psychotherapy designed to get people to reduce or avoid a behavior that's not healthy for them. And there's the ways they can do it. It's either electrical. Here we see them shocking them. They could do chemical, or they could do imaginary aversion. Now, I've used part of the imaginary aversion. Food that I like say, for example, you like a pizza. You just train yourself to think of pubic hair sprinkled on a fresh, bubbling cheese pizza, and it teaches you not to like it. If this therapy was accepted and people were willing to sign a release, don't you think this would work for almost everyone?
That they're going to rape your wife?
Oh, take away the rape.
That they're going to put your wife in a cage?
No, shock therapy. Okay, we'll hook you up with some kind of like a dog collar, but on your leg. And every time that you smoke, we'll shock you. It works.
Oh, yeah. I imagine it takes all the joy out of smoking.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I think there's a line.
Yeah, I think that's...
Putting your wife in a cage, it's a little much.
Yeah, the raping and the finger for game. Wait, that's not it. But I think people, we need to broaden our horizons on what we could do to make ourselves better. And I would be pro electric therapy, shock therapy, if it was on yourself. It's kind of what I use to help myself with my diet, is to picture the foods that I like in just in an unsavory, dirty, filthy, pubic hair covered way.
There's just some guy out there right now being like, pubic hair pizza. Yeah. Delicious.
Probably.
Also, if you're me, hair just ends up in all your food anyway. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Having escaped Quitters Inc., the Tomcat travels to Atlantic City. Gambler and former tennis pro Johnny Norris is involved with the wife of crime boss Kressner, who wins a bet on the Tomcat and takes it home. Kressner sets up a game where Norris must walk the ledge of Kressner's penthouse. If Norris survives, Kressner will grant his wife a divorce. If Norris refuses, Kressner will call the police and have him framed for drugs. Norris agrees and survives the challenge, and Kressner honors his bet but kicks over a bag to reveal his wife's severed head. Norris kills Albert, Kressner's driver, and forces Kressner to walk the ledge. The Tomcat watches as Kressner, harassed by a pigeon, falls to his death.
Okay, Gene, so far we've done Christine. We did Needful Things. We did The Shining, Maximum Overdrive. We are going to do Carrie. We've done Stand By Me. So we've done enough Stephen King that we can start to identify some trends. Now, this fucking guy, he can write. There's no questioning that. He's done 63 novels, 200 plus short stories. He writes about 2,000 words, like 10 pages a day. That's 180,000 words per month. If King kept this up, he could produce close to 24 horror novels a year. So this dude writes. But when you write that much, you're going to go back to what works for you. And we've discussed in our many reviews, he's got habits of reusing the same plots and themes over and over again. Almost all of his movies involve a couple of these. If you got your Stephen King bingo cards out there, people, pull them out. Okay. So who out there has got, let's just say, dark secrets or supernatural phenomenon hidden within an ordinary small town, a Maine town? We're going to make it a Maine. Okay, that's your first one. Some kind of psychic ability. Also, if you have a cursed object, maybe a vehicle as a villain. We're going to put children in peril. These are the big ones he normally does. But after this movie, I want to add a new one to this, Gene. I think that Stephen King, there is some deep fear he has on some level that he might not be willing to admit. And it's something that seeps through the cracks in a lot of his stories. If you could get to Stephen King's like psyche, the inner level, I think his true concern isn't demons, possessed cars, talismans, Carrie, any of these things. I think he is afraid of another man fucking his wife. I think namely a tennis instructor. Because if you think what he has done in his movies, you think about Rita Hayworth, Shawshank Redemption. Andy's wife was fucking who, Gene?
Was it a tennis pro?
It was a tennis pro. They both get shot in the car. That's what happens. You get Judd Crandall's wife, Norma, in Pet Sematary. She's cheating. You get also in the Creepshow episode. There's one that's really disturbed me. It's one that most people remember from Creepshow, besides the roaches. It's called Something to Tide You Over. And it's about a millionaire who buries his wife and the lover up to their necks in sand, sets up a camera, and watches the tide roll in. Here in Cat's Eye, we got Kressner's wife is fucking another tennis pro. You don't keep coming back to these plot lines unless on some level, like, hey, Steven, what terrifies you? Oh, I just my wife fucking a tennis pro.
Yeah, and he really shoehorns it in on this one because you would think to make the story effective, we'd want to be rooting for Norris, right?
Yeah.
Like, we want him to be okay. But the fact is, Kressner's mad at him because he's fucking his wife. Like, you kind of see where Kressner's coming from. He had a right to be pissed off. And, you know, the real victim in all of this, getting back to the Diamondbacks, was the pigeon.
Yeah.
They fucked that pigeon up. It gave me some Randy Johnson flashbacks, which I don't know if you know, the D-backs did that again this season. Another bird killing.
I didn't know they did that.
Zach Gallen, yeah.
I didn't know that. But I wish the only thing that sucks about that whole footage was before HD.
Yeah.
So every scene, every time you see that, it is so pixelated, and that poor dove, it just explodes like a pillowcase in a pillow.
It looks like fucking Monster Squad.
It does, except there's like glitter. We need glitter and feathers exploding.
Wolfman's got nards. I'm really tired of Stephen King trying to teach us little lessons. Like, this is supposed to be horror. I don't want to learn little lessons. Or he always tries to like offer his simplistic vision of human nature, whatever. Quit smoking is not a spooky plot. There's nothing scary about this. If I go to a place and they say, you talk about aversion therapy, and they say, hey, you smoke and we're going to put your wife in a shock cage, I'm going to say, get fucked. And then I'm going to call the police. Like, what is the point of all this? None of it's realistic.
Yeah, most of the stories with King, you just call the police. At any point, you just call the police.
Yeah.
But even Adam said one of the books that he enjoyed reading, the first one was Thinner. Thinner is not about quitting smoking. It's about getting fat when you eat too much. And every time he eats more, he becomes thinner. And Gene, it's those damn gypsies. I know we're going to get to those fucking bastards soon. But yes, a lot of King's stories, if you just said, hey, I'm going to call the police. I see a ghost car driving around running people over. Let's get the authorities involved.
Yeah, I mean, The Ledge is another example of that. We've got a dilemma that isn't really a dilemma. You walk the ledge, I'll divorce my wife. You don't walk the ledge, I'll frame you for drugs. If you give me that decision, I'm like, okay, there's a thing called a court system.
Yeah.
And even if I'm convicted, I'm unlikely to die in prison. I am far more likely to die falling off a ledge with a dude spraying me with a fire hose and a pigeon attacking me. Thankfully, Robert Hayes has outstanding grip strength. I mean, he could just really hold on to a ledge.
Well, I don't think it's his grip strength. I think it's like maybe the size of his feet. Maybe he's got tiny, petite feet, and maybe the distance between his belly button and his ass or type. But Kressner isn't a congressman. He's not a judge. He's not a high-powered like CEO. He's a fucking criminal. Yes, the cops would love to investigate a case of him planting heroin in your car because you're banging his wife. And then what does Kressner do? I'm going to do this whole fucking thing about making you walk the ledge on my penthouse apartment. None of my neighbors are going to see him walking out on a ledge, pulling down a neon giant letter, me shooting at him, shooting a fire hose off the side, him screaming. The likely outcome here, Gene, is that he falls to his death. The police are then going to come investigate the crime straight up to the penthouse. And then what happens? Norris gets the jump on him. The cat trips the guy down the stairs. He comically drops the gun. At this point, you're out of it. You're out of it. You hold him at gunpoint. You call the police. Say, hey, he made me walk the ledge. They planted drugs. You're going home. Kressner's going to jail. Instead, you decide to get that fat bastard out on the ledge. He falls. Now you're going to jail. Just call the police.
Yeah. I mean, for Norris, it's just not a good look. You got a dead guy on the ground.
No.
You got his decapitated wife's head in the fucking penthouse,
No.
and you're hanging out there. Oh, and you owed the guy money? Yeah, that's not good.
But dude, am I a terrible person? When he said like $5 million, at that point, I'm thinking, the girlfriend's dead. She's dead. You can't bring her back.
No, you take the money.
I know he's not going to double cross me because he seems to honor his word. For $5 million, couldn't we let bygones be bygones at this point?
You got to be a pragmatist in these situations.
Thank you.
And Big D, you mentioned gypsies earlier in the podcast. As a person with several Welsh friends and a fondness for the Welsh, I nearly spit up my free Delta Airlines beer when I heard the term Welsh on a bet in Cat's Eye. Like, that's one of those you just don't hear anymore. And it got me thinking about other like racist or nationalistic terms we throw around without knowing it, like jip or paddy wagon. And then I started looking at some others that I wasn't necessarily aware of, like sold down the river and off the reservation. And I know I'm guilty of paddy wagon. I say that all the time because what else do you call it? Like police arrest van? I don't really know what else you'd call it. But Big D, I got to ask, like, we tend to be a little more intelligent about the words we're using these days, but are there any that you just cannot stop doing?
Obviously, since doing the podcast with you, I think since you indoctrinated me into your wokeness, you and Ash, I'm now hypersensitive to a lot of these things I used to say. Like wife beater, I no longer say wife beater. I now say like a white tank top. Indian giver was one I used to say, or sit Indian style.
What?
Yeah, Indian giver. Yeah. Off.
Oh, I do. Yeah, Indian style. I do. What are you supposed to call it? Like crisscross applesauce or something?
That's sitting Indian style. Yes, you said.
Yeah, but what's the
crisscross
appropriate
applesauce?
term?
Crisscross applesauce.
Crisscross applesauce.
Yes.
Do you have to say the applesauce part?
Yes, you have to say crisscross applesauce.
Otherwise, it's racist.
Yes, otherwise it's racist. Yeah, off the reservation. Yeah, those are some ones I used to say. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Off the reservation, I had my doubts about, because I thought, did it mean like off the reservation as in a reference to American Indians, or did it mean off the reservation like you had a reservation as a restaurant or something, and then you decided to do your own thing? Turns out it's the former.
Shut up.
Whoops. No, I'm serious.
You did not think off the
I
reservation.
did. It's the same thing with like being a pussy. We've talked about this before on the podcast. I used to think like don't be a pussy meant like a cat, like a pussy cat, easily frightened and whatever. I didn't think it meant a vagina.
But do you still do long time no see?
Yeah, that's a bad one. I know.
I didn't even know that was until I started doing research.
I thought it was like an old English.
No, it's making fun of the Chinese.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, do you know the origin of Lululemon?
Oh God, no.
I guess the owner thought it was funny to hear the Japanese try to say it, so he just got stuck on it. I swear I believe that to be true. It might be because I'm drinking, but I believe that Lululemon was because he laughed at it. He's no longer the CEO. He's been removed.
Yeah.
Hey, write in if you.
But they kept the name.
Yeah, Lululemon. Yeah, it's funny.
The tomcat hops a freight train and is adopted by. I can't believe you did that. The tomcat hops a freight train and is adopted by the girl who was asking for help earlier, Amanda. Amanda names the cat General, but her mother is worried that General will harm their parakeet, Polly. Placed outside at night, General cannot protect Amanda from a troll that is living in her wall. When Amanda sleeps, the troll slays the parakeet and tries to steal Amanda's breath. General bursts in and chases the troll, which stabs him and flees. Amanda's mother thinks General killed Polly, but her father discovers the dagger wound on the tomcat. So this is going to sound silly, Big D, and maybe it might be that the rest of the movie was so bad that I had to find something to latch onto as a piece of quality. I was kind of impressed by the effects with the troll. Like, he's a tiny thing. For those of you who haven't seen the movie, he's the size of a rat. And he's navigating the bedroom, and I couldn't tell if this was like a dude in a suit on a giant sound stage or a puppet in a normal sized room. And so I went through scan the credits. I couldn't find anyone credited with playing the troll. So I'm guessing it was a puppet.
Fuck no. Are you kidding me? This was like Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. You could tell.
That was a dude in a suit?
That's a dude in a suit in like an oversized set. Because you could tell that everything was like comedically large. Like the bedspread was this giant piece of fabric. Then when he would jump into bed and you would see like Drew Barrymore's like feet, then you could tell it was green screened. This is a dude in a suit in a giant like Toy Story type or Ratatouille type set with oversized books and like thimbles and normal sized toys and stuff like that.
Listen, okay, for those of you listening, we've talked before about how sometimes we'll watch movies on an airplane, sometimes we'll watch them on a big screen, sometimes we watch them, in our living rooms. In this particular situation, Delta Airlines had Sweetwater Brewing's 420 for free. And the lady came by, I shit you not, every 10 minutes. And if I had an empty can, she would give me another can of it. So I was slamming these things down. So I think maybe by this point in the movie, this troll looked absolutely incredible to me. And I'm glad, Big D, that you're confirming it's a dude in a suit, because I just thought this must be the greatest puppetry I've ever seen.
No, you could tell. Even there's some like kind of like early 80s parkour, some of the flipping and when he falls through the drum and stuff like that. This is a person in a suit. But just to put the whole troll aside, if you're sneaking up on kids, you shouldn't wear these damn bells on your hat.
Yeah.
That'll give you away. But they answer a lot of the questions. I'm like, how have the parents not noticed the hole in the wall? Oh, he can magically seal and open the hole. Okay, great. That's awesome. They're answering all these questions. Why is he stealing the breath? I don't know. Why was Drew Barrymore's ghost possessing a mannequin in the first of these stories that the cat then could hear the apparition like whispering? It doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to say right now, folks, you should not make a PG-13 horror movie. You should never do it because you can't do the things you need to do.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you need people's heads cut off and blood and guts everywhere. But when you go in PG-13, you're up against the wall of saying, hey, what can I do? It's not what should we do, it's what can I do? And you start making cuts and forced to make changes and not show things that you would normally do that would get a reaction out of the audience. And you're doing it just to maintain the rating. And I think a PG-13 versus R, it's a huge difference.
And I don't think you're saying, Big D, that they shouldn't make horror movies for kids. That's one thing. But if you're making a PG-13 horror movie and your first two stories in that are about infidelity and decapitation and gambling problems and smoking cessation, kids don't get that shit.
No.
If you're going to do a PG-13 one, that's fine. Just stick to, trolls and cats.
No, you're stuck to instead, which is a perfect metaphor for this film. Instead of seeing somebody fall to their death, we get a horn hitting the ground, which is the movie itself, instead of hearing someone hit a car or whatever. And if you go back through King's movies, we did have a PG movie early on, but Carrie, R, Salem's Lot, PG. And I'm going in order here. Shining, R, Creepshow, R, Cujo, R, Dead Zone, R, Christine, R, Firestarter, R, Children of the Corn, R, Tales from the Dark Side, TV show. Okay, we'll let that go. Cat's Eye, PG-13. Then he immediately goes back to Maximum Overdrive, R. Even Stand By Me is an R. Running Man is an R. Salem Lot's an R. Pets, they're all R for a reason. Now, I'm not saying you need to show, because there are good PG-13 and PG movies that are terrifying. And I went through just for my own to say I wasn't going crazy here. These are some PG or PG-13 movies that I thought worked and could be scary. Poltergeist, PG.
Yeah.
Sixth Sense, PG-13. Gremlins, The Ring. The Ring is creepy as fuck.
The Ring is PG?
It is. It's PG-13. The girl coming out of the well, there's no violence in it. It's all implied. Yeah. It's all just the videotape and jump scares and the girl twitching. There's no blood. There's no murder. Very few. That's creepy. The Others is another good one with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
You don't need, we're not talking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, heads cut off, blood shooting everywhere, but you need some more sense of danger, things that make the audience uncomfortable. Don't do PG-13 horrors. Go full measure. Show us, it'll work. Respect the audience.
Well, after Amanda's mother takes General to an animal shelter, the troll returns to take the sleeping girl's breath. General escapes euthanization and saves Amanda from the troll. Her parents break into the room and discover parts of the troll's corpse, as well as the tiny dagger and the troll's hole. The next morning, General feasts on a large fish, then climbs onto a sleeping Amanda's stomach and licks her face. She wakes up and cuddles him. So, of course, Big D, the only character I cared about in this movie was General the cat. I didn't care about Norris. I didn't care about James Woods. I cared about General the cat. And I was deeply offended on his behalf when he was wrongly accused of killing Polly when all he was trying to do was protect Amanda. Like, the little boy in me stood up and yelled, "That's not fair." And then they take him to be euthanized, and that's not fair. And suddenly I'm up in my airplane seat. I'm angry, but I don't think you can blame Amanda's mom. Like, the math adds up here.
Yeah, but the fucking problem is she did it on the down low. She did it secretively. She pretended, she baited poor fucking General into a box, then took his ass down there, and you see the ominous black smoke. It's looking like they named a new pope. You're fucking seeing it rise up out of the building. You know this is a kill shelter. And immediately I'm thinking, Gene would not volunteer there. That's a kill shelter.
Not.
So the problem is she did it without being honest. And yes, General, he looks guilty as fuck. If I'm going to take this from a prosecutor's standpoint, the evidence is overwhelming. Mom saw General kill a bird that very morning. If we had some forensics in there, there's a bloody paw print left at the scene. But the parents still should have believed the kids. And I'm going to tell you right now, Gene, you don't have kids yet. I got my fingers crossed. I learned a lesson from Emma when she was about 3 years old. I'm going to share with you right now. So Emma was in like pre-VPK. And she comes home and says, I have something up my nose. And she's like 3 years old at this point. I said, what's up your nose? She said, a piece of mulch. I said, you got a piece of mulch up your nose? So I did what any adult would. I wanted some medical advice. So I called Carrie Gross. So I said, Carrie, Emma's telling me she's got a piece of mulch up her nose. So she goes, okay, get a flashlight, look up her nose, look up on the inside. I could not identify the mulch. I'm asking Emma for details. Emma at that age could not give me more details about the situation, how the mulch got up there, how she could tell it was up there. So Carrie said, do not try to go up there with anything. Don't try to flush it out. Just let it work its course, see if it's still up there. Needless to say, 2 hours later, out she sneezes a giant piece of mulch. This fucking thing was giant, Gene. Huge. That I could not believe was up her little nose. At that point, I realized, always believe your kids. No matter how ridiculous it seems, go with the belief in your child. The fact that you believe in them a lot of times will make them more open to tell you the truth. But if I had doubted her and said, Paul, you don't have a piece of mulch up your nose. What are you talking about? And that led to the whole, do not put pieces of mulch in your body openings, ears, anything. Don't put them in there. Don't put them in there. But people, believe your kids. If they tell you something was up their nose or somebody's creepy or somebody made them feel funny, believe them. Believe them.
I've seen enough horror and sci-fi movies to make an oath that I will always believe anybody, children, adults, anybody, when they tell me that there's like a monster or an alien around. But it's not because I'm like concerned with anyone's safety. I just don't want to look stupid if someday they make a movie about me, because there's always that guy in the movie who's like, it's nothing, it's fine.
Yeah.
My aliens don't exist. And then you can see the alien in the next scene. So I'm never going to be that guy. You tell me there's an alien, there's a ghost, whatever. Okay, cool. There's an alien, there's a ghost. Let's go check it out. As for kill shelters, by the way, Big D, I currently volunteered at No Kill Shelter, Arizona's oldest no kill shelter. Previously, I had volunteered at a no suffering shelter, which is kind of like a no kill shelter. But if the animal is in really, really bad shape and it's going to die anyway, they will, euthanize it, because a no kill is a no kill, period. Recently, I've seen a lot of people on social media posting on the pages for kill shelters, like our county, Maricopa County, shelter. And they're like calling them murderers and everything. What are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, what? You got thousands of animals coming in and you're running out of space. What are you supposed to do? Like, take it easy, man. Take it easy.
Be part of the fucking solution.
Right. Exactly.
Shut the fuck up. People out there, I don't care. I'm going to get political right here. If people who are like, oh, I'm anti-abortion. And I say, how many kids have you fostered? How many kids have you adopted? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with them killing, go out and donate money to help them get these animals adopted, spayed, or neutered. Become part of the solution, people. Shut the fuck up. Thanks, Adam, by the way. Great movie. Great movie.
Or is it? Now's the time in the podcast when we give our wipe score for Cat's Eye. Our wipe score is our way of telling you how many wipes this movie takes to get out of your respective butts. 0 wipes is a perfect movie. It's when pussy licks you. And 5 wipes is an absolute disaster of a movie. It's being tossed into an electrified cage because your husband can't stop puffing Pall Malls. I'll go first. I can't give this movie 5 wipes because they really did make that troll look great. Whether it was a puppet or a guy in a suit, I don't care. Big fan of the troll. Those little bells, they were charming me. And General the Cat, he seems pretty chill. I like General the Cat. But my God, did I not enjoy watching this thing. It made me feel like I was harsh on Krull, honestly. And I gave Krull, I think, a 4.5. It's not as bad as Student Bodies. I got to go 4 3/4 wipes.
I'm going to go 4.25 wipes. This is no Student Bodies, but this is bad. This is obviously, they went to Mr. De Laurentiis and said, hey, we got Stephen King. We've got him on. He's willing to do something. Okay, let's piecemeal some stories together. Oh, anthologies are making money here, right? We can do it here. Get Drew Barrymore, 3 roles, 1 salary. Let's do it. A cat, animals. We get Christine, Coot. This is a no-brainer. But the story wasn't there to back it up. Go back, people, and watch it. It's weaker than you remember it. It is no Creep Show. It is no Dark Side. It is not Twilight Zone. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And other than the cat, the rest of it was bad. It's 4.25. And Gene, to go back to our wonderful listener, Ryan, who came up with the critical wipe calculator score, big prime numbers, very sneakerish. That would be a Metacritic score of 70, Rotten Tomatoes 69. That's a 1.5 wipe.
Wow.
From the black box.
1.5.
Yeah. It's math, Gene. It's math.
So between the two of us, it would be a score of 4.5 wipes. But if you add in that critical wipe score, it takes it up to a 3.5 wipes. Still by no means a great movie, but that's far more forgiving than we were.
Yeah.
All right, Adam, we'll let you take your pick of those two scores, whichever one you think fits best. And again, we do not wish to tarnish the memory of your mother or your brother. That is not what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to be our honest selves, as you would come to expect.
Okay, so with the critical calculator, the Ryan who's created the AI overlord future of Shat the Movies, the brain behind it, that would tie this with The Nightmare on Elm Street, Dune, Kindergarten Cop, Iron Eagle, and Repo Man. If we went with, what was the other score? Just the two of us?
4.5 is just the two of us.
Okay, just the two of us. It would be Nuns on the Run, Fletch Lives, Predator 2, and 10 Things I Hate About You, and Highlander.
Yeah, this movie's not any better than any of those.
Ryan, I got to call you because we have to tweak your math here. Since
it's too nice.
Well, yes, since there will never be a 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes, I think a zero wipe for this needs to be, let's say, 90 to 95, somewhere in that range. So I think if we tweaked it down, so I think this would be more of like a 2 wipe in the revised, but we could have a brainstorm.
So we'll have to get in touch with Ryan and figure that out. Big D, we do have some voicemail this week, and the first one comes from Adam from Philly, our commissioner.
Hey guys, it's Adam from Philly. Let me preface this by saying I love you guys to death, no matter what scores you give anything. Now that that's said, I just listened to your Airplane review. Let me just preface this that I am 45 years old, closer. Actually, I'm kind of right in between you guys, but I grew up with Airplane, and I swear to God, I try to censor myself on these voicemails. I really don't know why, but I'm losing it today because I just stopped listening right after Gene gave his 3 3/4 fucking wipe score for Airplane. Oh my God. And I guess it's like a generational gap thing, but like, Gene, you were saying something during the podcast that just like, oh, I really appreciated Robert Stack and Peter Graves playing the straight. Every single person in the movie played it straight, with the exception of your least loved Steven Stucker as Johnny, which also just hurt me a little bit. And Big D, you know, help with that, hurting me with, you know, down in Steven Stucker, R.I.P. But 3 3/4 wipes, man. Come on. Yes. All right. I haven't watched it in a while, and I'm sure some of the jokes don't hold up and stuff like that. But 3 3/4 wipes versus a half a wipe. Like, come on.
It gets
and
worse,
you're
Adam.
telling me more jokes missed than hit. I don't think you were watching the right movie. You might have been watching Airplane 2, the sequel, because that's not very good. Oh. Okay. I'm done. Ending. Still love you guys. But holy shit, Gene. You cut me a little deep today. Keep doing what you're doing, because despite what anybody says and despite what anybody, you know, puts on Facebook and blah, 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 you guys are the best. All right. Love you guys. Keep killing it.
Well, what are people putting on Facebook? He's got me paranoid now.
Oh, it's not good.
Really?
Yeah. It's not good. It's good about you. It's always bad about me. That's the way it goes.
Oh, okay. This was the hatred of
you.
Your Airplane. Okay, I thought it was in general.
It must be the generation gap between me at 43 and Adam at 45.
Yes.
We're just from two different worlds, Adam. Two different worlds. One world that's better at baseball. Next up, we have a voicemail from J Mac in Scotland. It's about speed.
Hey, Shat Crew. It's J Mac, listening in Scotland. First of all, I want to thank you for playing my previous Speak Pipe message that I sent to you. That was on the 3 o'clock high episode, which, by the way, I purchased 3 o'clock high on Amazon, or Prime Video, whatever you want to call it. I purchased that simply because you played my message on the podcast. Otherwise, I would never have seen this gem of a movie. Anyway, I'm calling to talk about Speed, or just something that you said, or Gene specifically said during the Speed episode.
Yes.
This was in reference to the fact that you felt the need to translate 50 miles per hour to 80 kilometers per hour for your listeners in England. Now, just a little PSA to start. England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. We're all in the same country. As much as I hope that's not going to be the case in the next 10 years or so, we're hoping that Scotland's going to break away and be our own thing, our own entity, and make our own way, because we've been absolutely shafted by the English government for so long. Anyway, I digress. If you felt the need to translate miles per hour into kilometers per hour for your listeners in the UK. We use miles per hour here. I don't know where this idea comes that we use kilometers as a matter of course comes from over there. The only people that use kilometers instead of miles are fun runners who like to say, oh, I did a 10K. Oh, yeah, you ran 10 kilometers. That's cool. That sounds like a long way. Yeah, that's like 7 miles. Still a long way, but the only people that use that are people that like to make it sound like they ran, cycled, or swam further than they actually did. We use miles, man. That's all I want to say. We use miles over here. So it's a misconception that over here in the UK, the United Kingdom, we use kilometers. We don't. It's only people that do things recreationally that want it to seem like they're doing more than they actually are that use those things. Anyway, I'm just being a dick. It's fun to be a dick sometimes. I fucking love your podcast, guys. Keep on keeping on. Do what you're doing. It's an absolute blast to listen to you guys every week. You inspire me to watch films that I would never normally watch. So thank you for that. I love you. Bye-bye.
Mission accomplished. Thank you very much. We make you watch movies. That's why we do this. But Gene, the metric system, it's the more logical.
Absolutely. And so here's the thing though, J-Mac, is that it's a mixed bag, man, because yes, you use miles per hour, which I should have known. Scotland, England, right? Great Britain. But you also use stones.
Yes.
You also use sometimes milliliters, sometimes liters. Your petrol comes in liters, not gallons. So, I mean, you guys got to make up your minds. At least here, we don't use metric, but we're consistent with it.
Yeah, I think also you do right side drive. That fucks us up. You got to immediately predict they're going to be fucking kilometers. You think they're going to be fancy.
Did you know, Big D, the speed limit in all of London is 20 miles per hour?
What, like in the city or like?
Yeah, London, the city, yeah.
How tiny are the roads? I don't remember those.
I mean, yeah, they're pretty damn tiny.
Yes.
But Jay, as an olive branch, I will tell you this. So Sarah and I just returned from our honeymoon in London and Paris, and I wish that we had gone instead of London to Glasgow or Edinburgh, any of the beautiful Scottish cities that I have lived in and absolutely marveled at. London, man, post-COVID, post-Brexit, it is not great. And also the beer is incredibly weak. And I've already started this war in our Discord, chatpod.com/Discord, with Mike and Gaz and all of our friends over there in the UK. Scotland is the way to go. And Wales, not to be Welshing.
I'm staying out of this one.
And finally, we have a voicemail from another Adam. This one is about Last Man Standing.
Hey there, Shat Crew. Adam here. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I called because I tagged Gene in something on TikTok and then promptly realized he lives in Arizona, not New Mexico. My bad.
We have Miles here.
I started listening to you guys in like 2017, maybe late 2016, before Die Hard. I really look forward to you guys doing The Godfather. I'm kind of surprised there's other movies you haven't done, like Batteries Not Included.
Commission it.
I can't think of anything else right now, but I grew up watching my dad's VHSs. Even though I was born in 92, I still seen a lot of older movies, and a lot of these I hadn't seen, and I still haven't watched some of them, but a lot of them I have. And I really appreciate the memories you guys are able to initiate for my dad and I, because I'll talk to him about the movie sometimes. He doesn't listen, but we enjoy talking about it. I look forward to Ash coming back. Hopefully she does. And if not, I look forward to whoever you guys pick, or if you stay as a duo for a time, that's fine too. A movie I would really like to commission, and you guys aren't probably going to air this because this is going all over the place, and my apologies for it. But a movie I'd really love for you guys to commission is Last Man Standing, and I can't remember the other one right now.
Batteries Not Included?
I've got a lot of my biological father's DVDs, but he loved Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis. It's a crime noir gangster action flick. 1996, and it has, I done forgot his name after I just looked it up.
Bruce Willis?
It's a very, I don't want to say it's typical, but it is a crime. It's like the movie Payback with Mel Gibson, which I think that's a 90s film too. And I would really like to see you guys do that, because that's a crazy film. Again, I cannot wait for Godfather. I was really hoping Ash was going to be on for Godfather, because I kind of usually fall along the lines of some of what she has to say. Big D, haven't really given you a shout out. I appreciate you. You're a wonderful person. And thank you for your service, sir.
I feel seen. Thank you for throwing me in there at the end.
Well, Adam, in response to your voicemail, first, thanks for calling in. You'll be excited to know, and you'll know it by this point, that we did The Godfather with a third voice with our friend Rob. And I hope you enjoy that episode with the third voice on there. And you mentioned Batteries Not Included. It's a movie that I really, really like. And Last Man Standing, also a movie that I really enjoyed when it came out. That came out during that period. I think there was like a 10-year period, Big D, when if you wanted to be a badass in a movie, you had to have a shoulder holster. Like, that was the cool thing, right? And Bruce Willis, I think he's got a dual. I think he might have a dual shoulder holster in that movie. But he looks very cool with his fedora. That was kind of in that same era when we were getting like the Untouchables and lots of those like kind of noir sort of like 20s, 30s, and 40s gangster movies. So I'd be down to do it. If anybody wants to commission it, Adam, if you'd like to commission or anybody else, either of those movies, I'd be very interested in doing.
Yeah, I think it's a great cast. I think I would never turn down a Christopher Walken movie. Never.
Oh, that's right. Christopher Walken's in that too.
Yes, never.
So yeah, Adam, we'd love to do it. Thank you so much for calling in, for listening, and keep calling in, man.
Yes. And Adam, one last thing. If you watch movies that you say you might not have ever watched before, the one I would always recommend is Blood In, Blood Out. Of all the movies we've done, movies that people have not seen, give that one a chance.
Now, for Blood In, Blood Out, do you prefer the director's cut or the Vaseline version?
Ooh, anyone. I'll tell you right now, Adam, if you write in and you can prove it's you, I will send you my DVD copy, because I bought a DVD copy of it. That's how much I would love to share. Then you can pay it forward and ship it to another listener. That's how good that movie is.
Watching movies you've never seen is a risk, carnal.
Gene, next week, on the verge of bankruptcy and desperate for a big break, aspiring filmmaker Bobby Bowfinger concocts a crazy plan to make the ultimate dream movie. Gene, this came out in August of '99, directed by Frank Oz, and it was commissioned by our great listener, Jose V.
Well, this is another one I watched on an airplane. So, Jose, I hope your score is a little bit better than Adam's. But thank you so much for commissioning our upcoming movie. Adam, thank you so much for commissioning Cat's Eye and sharing your memories with us. Thank you to all the commissioners who make this podcast possible. That concludes this week's episode of Shat the Movies. Be sure to follow us on social media and share with a friend. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at Shat the Movies. Email us, host@shatpod.com. Support the podcast by shopping our Amazon affiliate link, buying our merch, or by commissioning your own movie. Find all our information by visiting our website, shatpod.com. Also, check out our sister podcast, Shat on TV, where we review TV series such as Lovecraft Country, Westworld, True Detective, Taboo, American Gods, Game of Thrones, and Watchmen. Find all the information on our website, shatpod.com/TV, wherever fine podcasts can be found, including Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, and if you stop by Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. It helps the podcast grow. On behalf of my co-host, Big D, I'm Gene Lyons. Join us next week for the following movie.
Do you have any experience in motion pictures?
Oh, yeah, quite a bit, actually. I have quite a bit of experience. I'm an active renter, and I attend the film, the cinema, as much as possible, weekly, bi-weekly, interweek.
Would you be willing to cut your hair?
Yes, but it's usually better if someone else does it. I've had a few accidents.
Would you be willing to show your naked rear end in a movie? Welcome aboard. Here's your wardrobe. Finished. We are over.
How come?
You had sex with Jeff.
So?
Well, I never thought of it that way. Stay with him, stay with him! Front go, picture! Keep it together, keep it together, keep it together! Keep it together, keep it together! Awesome. You're gonna be a star.
The Tomcat hops a freight train and is adopted by the girl.
What? The Lululemon?
Okay. All right. The Tomcat hops a freight train and is.
I guess I should drink more often for the podcast, I guess.
Okay. All right.